we are starting the next chapter, chapter 4, reality, omnipresent. If one knows him as Brahman, the non-being, he becomes merely the non-existent. If one knows that Brahman is, then is he known as the real in existence. Taittiriya Upanishad. Since then, we admit both the claim of the pure spirit to manifest in us its absolute freedom and the claim of universal matter to be the mold and condition of our manifestation. We have to find a truth that can entirely reconcile these antagonists and can give to both their due portion in life and their due justification in thought, immersing neither of its rights, denying in neither the sovereign truth from which even its errors, even the exclusiveness of its exaggerations, draw so constant a strength.
So I think ये फर्स्ट वाला तो ऑल्दो कुछ होगा, मतलब है ना, जो भी होगा, बट जो दिख रहा है वो ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे जब हम बोलते हैं ना कि वो तो प्रकृति से परे है ना, मतलब ही इज नॉन बीइंग. सो बीइंग इज वॉट एवर इज मैनिफेस्टेशन बीइंग, एंड नॉन बीइंग इज द अनमैनिफेस्ट, आई एम गेसिंग, है ना. सो देन अगर हम ऐसे उसको जाने कि ही इज बियॉन्ड ऑल दिस, then he becomes merely beyond all this, that he's as if we are separating it out. Then he says, if one knows that Brahman is, that only that is, only the divine is, then he is known as real in the existence. And then we can connect through each grain of sand, through each connection, we can connect. मतलब ये बोल के कि वो नॉन बीइंग है, उसको जैसे कहते हैं ना कि अगर मंदिर बना दिया घर में, है ना, और ये सोच लिया कि भगवान सिर्फ मंदिर में है ना, तो बाहर हमको सारा अपना गुंडेबाजी करने का, गुंडागर्दी करने का वो मिल गया, है ना, लाइक लाइसेंशियसनेस हो गई कि अच्छा यहाँ पे कचरा फैलाओ, बस वहाँ साफ रखो क्योंकि वहाँ भगवान है. वही होगी कि नॉन बीइंग, क्योंकि वट एवर इज अनमैनिफेस्ट इज डिवाइन, सो वट एवर इज मैनिफेस्ट कैन बी कचड़ा, कैन रिमेन कचड़ा.
So I think the same school of thought that we had discussed before, that when we see, say, a Nanak or a saint, we say, oh, it's special, right? The Christ was the Son of God and I'm a sinner, right? So I draw that line and I say, that's not me. So here, this is what they are saying, that it's as real as you make it. So if you take Brahman as the non-being, that it's somewhere out there, mystical and right, like all that, it's non-existent. So then you feel you are real, that is there and that is beyond you. Because being a being, you cannot connect with a non-being. But when one sees that Brahman is, then he known as real in existence. So it's again just how I take it and how and where I perceive it. Yeah. And what I give importance to.
Absolutely.
So
Actually,
even it goes with the topic, that reality is omnipresent. Reality omnipresent. What you take as reality, है ना, even questioning that is it omnipresent.
हम्म।
And
हम्म। या
sorry, you were saying
नहीं नहीं,
something.
बोलो आप बताओ। हम्म।
So basically here it's saying that even if some of the claims are exaggerated, we must find something that would kind of justify, not justify, but say that both are needed and both are there and both are playing a part, right? That's what I don't know why.
या पता है, इससे वो वाला कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं, जैसे इमेजिन दैट इन रिलेशनशिप्स वी वांट ऑलवेज हार्मनी,
Hmm.
but we see that being remaining us, it is really almost impossible to have true harmony. So now Sri Aurobindo says that when we live in truth consciousness, when we live in supramental consciousness, then it is possible for have to have true harmony. Before that it is not possible at all. क्योंकि जब आप उस स्टेट में नहीं हो वेयर यू कैन रिकनसाइल ऑल द ऑपोजिट्स एंड गिव एवरीथिंग इट्स प्रॉपर प्लेस, विच वी कांट इफ आई एम नॉट इन टच विद माई ट्रू कॉन्शियसनेस, है ना। वो मेरी मतलब इट्स लाइक माई लाचारी है, वो मेरी, मैं नहीं कर सकती एज एन ईगो कॉन्शियसनेस। I just can't have that larger window which gives everything its proper place. So, true harmony, either he says in the world, at other place he says that either in the world as nations or in as an individual in relationships, भूल जाओ. So here, that वही वो कह रहे हैं ना कि that it has to be reconciled. He says that we have to find a truth that can entirely reconcile these antagonists जो अभी एंटागोनिस्ट लग रहे हैं. एक ऐसी ट्रुथ चाहिए जो इस सब को एक प्रॉपर प्लेस दे दे, and can give to both their due portion in life and their due justification in thought, denying neither sovereign truth, from which, even in its errors, even the exclusiveness of its exaggerations, draw so constant a strength. So everything given a proper place है. सो अब सब शांत होके बैठे हैं, अपनी अपनी जगह पे लेके बैठे हैं. तो ही ऑल्सो आई थिंक रेफर्स टू दिस इन जो इनका एक डिफरेंट ऐसे द आइडिया ऑफ ह्यूमन यूनिटी, द आइडियल ऑफ ह्यूमन यूनिटी, उसमें ही ऑल्सो शेयर्स दैट ह्यूमन यूनिटी मतलब बियॉन्ड कल्चर्स, बियॉन्ड कलर एंड बियॉन्ड कास्ट एंड बियॉन्ड क्रीड, that can only be possible if we have in manifestation truth consciousness, which is supramental consciousness. Otherwise, peace is not possible. There would be always wars and errors. But he says that now that supramental consciousness is established on earth, वो जो उस बुक में भी काफ़ी रेफरेंस है नाम जपा में, so now it's easier for us to walk that path.
So you spoke about nations, you spoke about relationship, right? That harmony. What about an individual harmony within that is possible?
नहीं नहीं, आप देखो ना, the more we get in touch truer
Hmm.
and truer, the more I make this path my truth, that I have to unite with my divinity. That's my main purpose. It is
Hmm.
impossible that the radiance of it doesn't shine in the relationships or, you know. So the greater it goes in degree, my devotion, my bhakti for the path that I'm walking, उसका जो knowledge है, because the it's a byproduct that which is falling on my relationship or workplace. The light is my truth, the love is my truth. The more I get in touch with that light clarity of knowing and truth na, and love, it is impossible that my relationships and the other things became still remain impure. So here वही जो हम spirit और matter की बात कर रहे थे, है ना, which is an individual. So he says that since then we admit both the claim of pure spirit. So I have my freedom, I have this light in me, and I want to reclaim the freedom with which I want to live. Because since spirit is free to manifest in us its absolute freedom and the claim of universal matter, also not abandoning my day-to-day life, not abandoning my body, not abandoning my interactions in this life, and yet not craving for it. वही बार बार उसकी बात होती है ना कि it's not making me incomplete, these relations. So अब, now that I reclaim my throne as the spirit originally, then only I can reclaim the light in matter. तो ये it goes hand in hand. And if I want any mastery over my thoughts, I have to take a stand as awareness and stabilize it. What is that awareness if not that the witnessing Purusha or consciousness? है ना? तो जितना मेरा स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड होगा स्पिरिट पे, उतना ही मैं एक्टिवली मैटर में एंगेज कर पाऊंगी टू ट्रांसफॉर्म इट, है ना? सो द मोर आई स्टेबलाइज एज awareness, now I can exert control on my or mastery on thoughts. Now I can have a true mastery and control over disturbing emotions, क्योंकि अब मेरे को कुछ चाहिए नहीं वहां से. डिस्टर्बिंग इमोशंस जब भी आते हैं हमको कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए होता है, यू नो, आइदर आई वांट टू प्रूव माई सेल्फ राइट, द अदर पर्सन रॉन्ग, माई स्टैंड इज राइट, योर स्टैंड इज रॉन्ग, आई वॉन्ट दिस बट आई डोंट वॉन्ट टू टेल एंड मैनिपुलेट. तो अब वो सब चाहिए नहीं, मैनिपुलेशन है ही नहीं, क्लैरिटी. So it goes hand in hand. The individual and the universe would go hand in hand, or the family. लेकिन वही है कि सिर्फ मतलब माना कि स्टार्टिंग जो है would be a few of us, है ना? स्टार्टिंग ऑफ कोर्स एवरी टाइम इट्स few of us, बट सिर्फ few of us के होने से चलेगा नहीं, है ना? मतलब इट विल हैव टू स्प्रेड. एंड दैट्स वाई दीज पीपल, मैं आपको जो शेयर कर रही थी, दे आर जस्ट शेयरिंग श्री अरबिंदोज मदर्स विजन विद एवरीवन, है ना? कि जिसको भी रेजोनेट हो वो तो पकड़े, है ना? वो तो पकड़े. Like giving it to masses, which earlier was not actually. I think I remember somebody saying that mother said that it's not for the masses at one point of time,
Yeah,
है
yeah,
ना?
yeah,
So
yeah.
they were
And that's
very,
why there are no conversions, there
हाँ,
are no intensive. Yeah,
but now it appears that it just has to spread. That's what it appears. And whoever can pick up, whoever can connect and resonate, they pick up.
yeah. उस हिसाब से I wonder, like this thing that you shared with me about, the avatar, like, how it's easy for people to believe in something when they hear something bigger than life, right? Like, तो ऐसा लगता है कि थोड़ा सा if one had a window to that, it would have been more widely maybe accepted and revered, but maybe that wasn't the point, right? It would
किसकी विंडो?
probably be
विंडो टू
if
व्हाट?
it's just amazing that how so less people know about say Sri Aurobindo and even lesser about Mother, right? So if these facts which happened, right, like about him being an avatar and all that, if a little bit of it was revealed
हाँ,
when it was happening or after it
हाँ,
happened in a factual way,
हाँ.
it feels it would have made it so much easier
Hmm.
for him to be revered. But I think that wasn't the point, right? That's
Hmm.
why they say that in this, I'm not here for
Hmm.
miracles,
Hmm.
right? I was here for
वर्क, या.
something else, yeah,
Hmm.
to bring
नहीं तो
down that.
इनमें वही कर रहे हैं ना. नाउ मे बी द राइट टाइम
Mm.
हैज कम, अदरवाइज विदाउट
Ah,
डिवाइन ग्रेस नथिंग मूव्स,
ah,
है
ah.
ना? तो नाउ वट एवर दे आर शेयरिंग with
Hmm.
colleges, government, it's actually
Yeah,
a brief history of what they did, what it was the
yeah,
vision they wanted to bring to
yeah,
earth. Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
और उसमें उसने ये भी बोला था which was very remarkable. He said that, shared that since now supramental consciousness is now in earth, on earth, established, there won't be any third world war. Like it's a promise that they have given, that no pralaya needs to be there. So yeah, that was, I found, very remarkable.
Yeah, I think when the Second World War was done with,
Hmm.
then only I remember reading about it, or I could be wrong, but I
Mm-hmm.
think I did. That he said that that was it. Like now
Mm.
there will be no.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
But I wonder again. I know I'm just going where probably one doesn't need to go. Obviously, with the nuclear weapons and all, World War doesn't even need to happen, right? Even if two countries are fighting and one of them used a nuke, we are all done for, right? So, but I think World War just means that the it would not have to destroy. It so much destruction is not needed, right? Maybe it's just a terminology which doesn't matter, but the essence of it. Mm.
Maybe that larger a scale ये हो सकता है, मुझे नहीं पता again
Yeah, that
what is.
larger, yeah. Destruction in such large scale
Mm.
is not needed. Would
Mm.
not,
Mm.
yeah. Mm. And when one is reading this, one also feels compassion about how compassionate he is, that even when things are not really there and it's just being exaggerated, and yet there is a place for that. Yet there is a place for that,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
Like say that thing, right? Like by his stumbling, by your stumbling, the world is perfected. So
Mm.
that means my stumbling is accepted, right?
Mm.
When they say there is a place
Absolutely.
for it. Because say when I am trying to say discipline a child,
Mm.
I use this word, this is absolutely unacceptable. I have heard myself use
Mm.
it.
Mm.
But यहाँ पे, what levels on what sins and what all we are talking,
Mm.
and yet it's like that, okay.
Mm. Mm. यहाँ पे रावण वाला भी I can connect, that if there is an exaggeration, for
Mm,
example, as an ego
mm,
or
yeah,
asuric nature, so it can, मतलब, the exaggeration is actually leading to its moksha, its liberation.
yeah,
So
yeah,
everything, yeah, seems to have a proper place.
yeah.
और हमारे साथ भी यही होता है, when my suffering exceeds,
Mm, mm,
for example, a certain threshold,
mm, mm,
then I wake up and take a step forward, that now no more, now enough. अदरवाइज वो सिमर करती रहती है, तो देन उतना वो जान नहीं आती बाद में.
yeah.
Yeah.
For wherever there is an extreme statement that makes such a powerful appeal to the human mind, we may be sure that we are standing in the presence of no mere error, superstition, or hallucination, but of some sovereign fact disguised, which demands our fealty and will avenge itself if denied or excluded. Herein lies the difficulty of a satisfying solution and the source of that lack of finality which pursues all mere compromises between spirit and matter. A compromise is a bargain, a transaction of interests between two conflicting powers. It is not a true reconciliation. True reconciliation proceeds always by a mutual comprehension leading to some sort of intimate oneness. It is therefore through the utmost possible unification of spirit and matter that we shall best arrive at the reconciling truth, and so at some strongest foundation for a reconciling practice in the inner life of the individual and his outer existence.
ये फर्स्ट लाइन बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है वैसे, ये वाली।
Mm.
मतलब वही बात करते हैं ना, जैसे ईगो डिस्टॉर्ट्स द ट्रूथ, लाइक इट्स लाइक अ फिल्टर विच डिस्टॉर्ट्स.
Mm.
So he says that whenever there is an extreme statement that makes a powerful appeal, which wants to be heard, we may be sure that we are standing in presence of no mere error, superstition, or hallucination, but of some sovereign fact. How beautiful! Disguised which demands our fealty. I just checked the word. It's something like loyalty,
Loyalty, yeah.
uh, which demands our loyalty and will avenge itself if denied or excluded. So, as if it wants to be heard. So, as if, like I'm reminded a child, है ना? Like he may be feeling something, but since it takes time for us to clearly express feelings, what we are really truly having the trouble at this moment, it may come across as something else. So it may come across as tantrum, but the child wants to convey something else. It may come across as maybe stubbornness, come across as, और क्या क्या होता है, crying, or maybe poking, interfering whenever you are working. But the child may want to convey a solid point, a valid point from her behalf. वो हमको दिखता नहीं है, हमको तो बस ये दिखता है कि तू जिद्दी क्यों हो रहा है ना, वाई आर यू सो टेंट्रमी टुडे. ये नहीं दिखता कि what is actually, we never rarely reach there, that maybe the child wants to be heard, be seen, and is dealing with something.
Basically, tying it with the first paragraph,
Hmm.
so we are talking about that either if we deny the spirit or if we deny the matter,
Hmm.
then that will basically avenge itself if denied or excluded, right? कि अगर दोनों को भी हम, it's not that spirit is superior, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what we were
Yeah.
initially taught,
Yeah.
right? Kind
Yeah.
of कि okay, उसको छोड़ो, उसको तिरस्कार करो, शरीर
Hmm.
से ऊपर उठना है.
Hmm.
So here he's saying if you do that, it will come and avenge itself.
Hmm. तो एक्चुअली में अगर मैं एसेटिक हूँ और मैं बोल रही हूँ नो नो नो, ओनली स्पिरिट,
Mm,
दिस कैन
mm,
नॉट गेट चेंज, आई डोंट हैव टू
mm,
वेस्ट माई टाइम हेयर. सो
mm,
वॉट एम आई ट्राइंग टू से देयर इज that I really want spirit's freedom. I
mm,
want that liberation because I feel so suffocated in matter,
mm, mm,
and I feel that it pulls me down. So
mm,
actually, I want to share that it pulls me down. There is
mm,
inertia in matter.
mm,
There
mm.
is, and I want that joy of the spirit
Yeah,
that is there.
yeah.
So the true intention is that call towards the spirit. But it comes
So
as the tiraskar of matter and
yeah. Yeah. So like we read about rejection, right? So one thing is taking it along and converting and transforming it, which they speak about, right? Like the transformation. But the ascetic way is rejection, that it does not exist because you know how that is also needed, like we discussed, but it was a work in progress, right? It just because right now it's taking hold of me, I reject.
yeah,
And once I'm ready, I say, now I'm ready to look at
yes,
you come.
yes, yeah,
But abhi tak, it was basically just rejection is enough,
yeah,
right? Just reject and move towards the spirit.
yeah,
But उसमें बॉडी के होने की फिर वो खत्म हो गई, राइट? एंड व्हाई डिड वी टेक द बॉडी if it had no use, if it had no purpose in this birth and everything, right? Like if it just had to be shunned.
hmm. सो आई थिंक ये जो द सेकेंड लाइन हियर, बट ऑफ द सोवरेन फैक्ट डिस्गाइज्ड विच डिमांड्स अवर अटेंशन. सो यहाँ पे जैसे अगेन वैलिडेटिंग दैट येस आई सी यू.
Mm.
I see that you're hiding behind this veil of stubbornness or tantrums or exaggeration of, whatever. So seeing that fact that yes, there is some truth hiding. And which will avenge itself also. One can, one example can be that imagine that a child needs attention, huh? And one is not able to give attention. He's poking, he's aggressive, wants. He was busy, busy, busy. So he comes, and since denying, we have been denying attention to him, he maybe brings a bucket and just pours water over the laptop. Done. So ये जो last line है, he will avenge itself, it denied and excluded. So, because I want to be heard, you know.
And the saddest part is that in this situation also it could be that we don't see where I was wrong, right? I was denying.
Hmm.
It feels that it's asking for something that shouldn't be ours,
Hmm.
but like not going there. But yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So that arrogance can still be
Yeah,
maintained. Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Yes.
Herein lies the difficulty of a satisfying solution and the source of that lack of finality which pursues all mere compromises between spirit and matter. A compromise is a bargain, a transaction of interest between two conflicting. I'm sorry, we had already read it, right?
No, but read it क्योंकि अभी वापस
Yeah.
करना ही है. हाँ, please.
Okay. A compromise is a bargain, a transaction of interests between two conflicting powers. It is not a true reconciliation.
Hmm.
Basically, they are talking about reconciling something and compromising on something.
वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट. मतलब कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ तो में तो ये हो गया ना कि मेरे को जो मैं चाहती हूँ मुझे अपना उसको पीछे बिठाना पड़ रहा है कि हाँ चल अच्छा थोड़ा सा ये मिल गया जो मैं चाहती थी, और बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं भी मिला, है ना, क्योंकि दूसरी पार्टी को भी सेटिस्फाई करना है. तो उसका भी थोड़ा सा मिल गया और उसका भी बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं मिला, फिर तीसरी का मतलब ऐसे करके यू हैव अ कॉम्प्रोमाइज. एंड दैट्स व्हाट हैपन्स इन अवर हाउसेस. Because since we are not living in truth consciousness, we are not able to reconcile, so we compromise. कि चल ऑल्दो मेरा मन नहीं है जो तू कह रहा है वो सुनने का, है ना, बट थोड़ा तेरा सुन लेते हैं, है ना, थोड़ा तेरी चल जाए, थोड़ा मेरा चल जाए, है ना, क्योंकि हमें पता ही नहीं है हाउ टू अप्रोच. वी डोंट नो इन अवर इग्नोरेंस हाउ टू अप्रोच.
Yeah.
So this next line is also, I think, very important. True reconciliation proceeds always by a mutual. It is again in living in this world in relationships. I feel this is very important. And a mutual comprehension leading to some sort of intimate oneness, where both parties understand, you know, and are living on the same path. That's where the importance of this comes. ना जैसे वो कहते हैं वो वाला कबीर का जो है कपलेट, कबीर हल्दी पियरी चूना उज्जवल भाई, राम स्नेही जो मिले दोनों वरण गंवाए. है ना,
Mm.
तो हम क्या करते हैं, ये हम या तो होगा कि दो लोग रह रहे हैं ना, तो एक बंदा
Mm.
अपने आप को पूरा वरण गंवा देगा कि दूसरा अपने आप को रूल कर पाए. दिस हैपन्स इन स्पेशली, है ना, पेट्रियार्कल फैमिलीज, कि जो फीमेल है उसने अपने आप को बिल्कुल एज इफ ना के बराबर कर दिया, ना चाहते हुए भी, completely dissolved her individuality so that the other may rule,
mm,
or the other way around. If it's a matriarch, then the other way
yeah,
around कि भाई किसकी
yeah,
चलेगी, मेरी चलेगी,
yeah,
and the other one is nowhere to be found, it only in the
yeah,
background.
yeah,
और देर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि दोनों ने, क्योंकि पाथ ऑफ ट्रुथ है, वी ऑल नो दैट वी ऑल हैव नेचर्स विच आर लिमिटिंग, सो ऑन दिस पाथ ऑफ ट्रुथ दोनों अपना धीरे धीरे वर्ण जो कलर है कैरेक्टर
mm,
का ट्रांस इट्स गेटिंग
mm,
ट्रांसफॉर्म, एंड
mm,
दिस म्यूचुअल कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इज
mm,
then possible. This I see in Tignathan's videos. When he shares that if we want to
yeah,
resolve something, then we write a letter. Now imagine how hard it is to make this possible in a family where people are not on the same path. उसको समझ ही नहीं आएगा भैया तू कहना क्या चाह रही है, इतना कॉम्प्लिकेट क्यों कर रही है लाइफ को,
हाँ, हाँ। तो
है ना?
लेटर देख के भी गुस्सा आ जाएगा, है ना, कि जो बोलना है सीधा सीधा
सीधा
बोलो।
सीधा बोल, एग्जैक्टली.
या
So he says ki I write and I found it so beautiful that you know, darling, that's what he shared.
हाँ,
Darling,
हाँ,
I am trying. है ना?
या
अब उसको समझ ही नहीं आएगा दूसरे बंदे को कि क्या ट्राई कर रही
हाँ,
है, कहाँ कौन सी ट्राई.
या
आई एम ट्राइंग बट आई एम सफरिंग, सो हेल्प
या
मी. हेल्प वाई, मतलब खाना खा ले, ले खाना खा ले, बना दिया तेरे लिए, मतलब कुछ, सो वन डजंट हैव एन आइडिया हाउ टू अप्रोच if one is on the same path, not on the same path.
And I was just thinking that, when you read about like that, when we read the compromise,
Hmm.
again in the thread of sacredness, compromise is considered very idealistic.
Yeah, yeah.
Like lot of times, again in movies or in real life also, you hear this कि अरे compromise तो करना ही पड़ता है,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
right? Like उसके बिना तो it's so as in again, that aimless life is a miserable life. That where what is the aim, right? क्योंकि इसको maintain करना है तो ठीक है, इसके rules different है ना, वहां पे ठीक है. As in again, it's like how we can even spin such things as sacred and need to do.
Hmm.
Matlab, it surprises me that obviously I am also
Hmm.
like till a very large extent, like that's in my life too, like
Hmm.
here and there. But how it's considered to be okay so
Hmm.
ingrainedly
Hmm.
is a good question to reflect on.
इनफैक्ट घर के खुद के लोग कहते हैं ना, जब स्पेशली
हाँ,
टू फीमेल्स, स्पेशली टू
हाँ,
फीमेल्स,
exactly.
है
हाँ,
ना, दैट हाँ एडजस्ट तो करना ही पड़ता
हाँ.
है.
Across cultures,
या
across
या
cultures.
या
Yeah. You
एंड
look the other way.
in that we allow ourselves to kill
हाँ,
our soul,
yeah,
that
yeah,
we allow कि खुद घुट घुट के मर जाएंगे,
yeah,
and we compromise on our delight, on our joy. I
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
a very inhumane compromise that we do, to
Mm.
compromise on our joy. And then we have lives which are just going forward by the serials that are coming on TV,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because there is no joy.
I don't know if this is the right platform for this, but the other day I came across an article which was about open marriages. So I just couldn't stop myself by whatever. So it was about celebrities and which celebrities have open marriages. And it was really interesting that, how it's like there's this person that, I never believed in monogamy.
Mm,
And yet this is a person I met and I just couldn't forget him. We kept coming back to each other, but because we know we can't be, we got married, knowing that it will be an open marriage, and yet because we felt some special bond. So this is a ground, and then I'm free to explore what I
yeah,
want to.
yeah,
He's free to explore what I want. He
yes,
wants to approach,
yes,
knowing that okay,
yeah.
at home if available,
Mm,
I'm there. If he's available, he's there.
mm,
If
mm,
not, we are there.
mm.
But in some level, when we say look at the open marriages, especially in movies and all, it seems like, oh my God, what are you saying,
No, they are
right?
happening. That day
Yeah,
Deepa was
but
also sharing about this.
yeah, and it sounded much healthier. Like
Healthier, huh?
लगता है कि इतनी narrow सोच नहीं है. And it doesn't mean that you're just having an affair after the other. It just means that
मतलब कोई तुम्हें मार नहीं देगा अगर,
हाँ
है ना? या,
हाँ
यस.
मतलब कि okay मतलब he is like a friend and stuff and whatever, and okay you're very open to having whatever you want. I don't know matlab it, again I think I don't know how
No, I
much
think
it's
one
okay.
one thing which I saw here is too much dependency.
Mm,
Since I was reflecting over it, so Deepa was sharing about this,
mm,
and asking also some other people,
mm,
do you have like a mutual agreement like this, open marriage? So then the other person said yes, but then I saw something there which I was not able to share, but I reflected upon it कि अभी भी चाहिए, है ना? तो वो क्या हो रहा है, that especially the physical is kind of pulling you again and again,
mm,
है ना? So mostly I think the open marriage aspect is more true for people who just have too much physical attraction, है ना? कि and I feel that what we actually crave for is intimacy. It's not physical connection that we crave for. It's just that when there is a physical connection we feel that we are intimate, है ना? What we actually crave is a true intimacy, mental, emotional, spiritual intimacy in relationships, which we fail to have, especially like
mm,
95% I would say we
mm,
fail to have with spouses.
mm,
So
mm,
now when beyond my marriage I'm meeting
mm,
this person who is emotionally transparent, mentally
mm,
transparent, spiritually similar path,
mm,
it's
mm,
hard to resist.
mm,
So in
mm,
Mother's play, if you remember
mm,
Mother's play,
mm,
SN2?
mm,
No, not in
mm,
SN2 Truth. No, I had shared it with someone. I'll share it again. So there was this again aspect of this open relationship. So two
mm,
people, one maybe a poet and the other maybe a theater play artist or somebody, they were living together. Huh? Now, this person, the male person who is the poet,
mm,
he comes to know of a neighbor who is a girl who is very, who he resonates with in feelings and emotions, and
mm,
mentally he resonates with in
mm,
aesthetic sense, huh? So this lady who is the wife of this
mm,
person, she is the one introducing them to each other, since she
mm,
knows that they would connect, huh?
mm,
And they are connecting, and now towards the end it is shown that the lady goes away from the scene, the wife, because she says that why do you bother, you're having a good time with each other, you are getting that intimacy at all these levels that you have always craved for, so I
mm,
would step back from this place. So again mother shows, I remember mother wrote this, openness in relationships, which is कि आपने touch किया ना, that we
mm,
don't have to make and we suffer, look at our friends
mm,
who are suffering, that just because I have signed a contract with a person, I am, no matter if I'm suffering and the person is still like a wall, I just don't feel like exploring, because and I'm okay killing myself, the body is coming with diseases so many, just because I have to remain glued to this relationship and killing oneself in that process. So there is some truth to that aspect, ये जो open relationship or open marriage.
I was saying that I always, without even looking at it at all,
Hmm.
I had just assumed it's the physical.
Hmm.
That's why you would need
Hmm.
it. But in this article, maybe the spin was like that. For the first time, it felt it's not about just physical, it's
Hmm.
just about your right to be okay with it.
Hmm.
If just that essence was there.
Hmm.
If I want to,
Hmm.
I can. Like
Yeah.
there's no rigidity there. Ki no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Like how Acharya Prashant says that it's not just about physical. The fact that even if you are thought of somebody,
Hmm.
that's cheating.
Hmm. Hmm.
But here we have these movies that say, कि अरे, think of whatever, but don't touch.
Hmm.
Just that physical is just, we think this is cheating, but we are
Hmm.
cheating at so many other levels too. If that is what you want to
नहीं,
call as
बेसिक
cheating.
चीटिंग तो ये हो गई ना कि मैंने मतलब मेरा वही जो आप मन की बात कर रहे थे, थॉट लेवल
हाँ
पे है ना,
हाँ
मतलब आई एम
हाँ
लिविंग
हाँ
विद समबडी एल्स
हाँ
and
हाँ
I'm
हाँ
all the time thinking
हाँ
about somebody else.
हाँ हाँ
And we
हाँ
don't
हाँ
claim that as cheating.
हाँ वी डोंट
Yeah.
क्लेम, हाँ बिकॉज वो
हाँ.
दिखा नहीं कि वो
हम्म.
अंदर मतलब वही उसमें ये था कि गिविंग ईच अदर दैट फ्रीडम।
Freedom. Yeah. Yeah.
हाँ कि व्हाई टू टाई वन सेल्फ
क्योंकि
टू
जब टाई
दैट।
करेंगे तो चीटिंग भी होगी।
हाँ
जब
चीटिंग
फ्रीडम है
भी
तो
होगी
फिर कोई
अदरवाइज, हाँ
चीटिंग नहीं है।
चीटिंग है ही नहीं। हाँ
एब्सोल्युटली.
एग्जैक्टली दैट वाज द थिंग कि
एब्सोल्युटली.
इफ वी एक्सेप्ट लाइक उसमें जैसे ये था कि इफ वी एक्सेप्ट दैट मोनोगमी इज नॉट
पॉसिबल.
something that we want, it's not
हाँ.
possible
हाँ.
like in their thing in that article, so we don't include it as a factor
हाँ.
in our
हाँ.
relationship.
And we do see, many, like it remains hidden. This all
Mm,
these talks remain hidden, stories remain hidden, but
mm,
it's very hard to find people who have been truly monogamous, especially
mm,
nowadays. Like people cheat on each other, है ना, इन द नेम कि भाई तुम्हारी मेरे से शादी हुई है तो मैं मतलब तुम्हें हर्ट क्यों करूँ, है ना, मतलब बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. सो इट
mm,
इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट इट completely makes sense that have an open
mm,
marriage,
mm,
and yeah, there is no place for cheating then.
mm.
या जैसे ओपन टेस्ट होते हैं विद ओपन बुक,
हाँ
ना, तो
हाँ
उसमें चीटिंग का कोई स्कोप ही नहीं है, फर्रे बनाने की कोई
हाँ
जरूरत ही नहीं
हाँ
है.
हाँ या
मोर ट्रांसपेरेंट. यस.
हाँ
एंड अगेन इट इज जस्ट अ फेज, लीडिंग टू
हाँ हाँ
समथिंग एल्स.
या मतलब if you feel it
हम्म.
fine, मतलब it would really change the structure of
हम्म.
things, but I think उसमें भी it needs more responsibility, है ना,
हम्म.
people who are more with themselves.
हम्म.
Like it's again an experiment, but it's an experiment with a slippery slope again. Matlab, if we look at it from that angle, so it
इट
needs,
इज.
with freedom comes
नहीं, बट देखो ना, इसमें
responsibility.
स्लिपरी स्लोप होने का फायदा हो जाएगा, मुझे लगता है.
Hmm.
क्योंकि जब हमारा स्लिपरी स्लोप नहीं होता है ना, व्हेन वी रिमेन
Hmm.
टाइट, देन वी
Hmm.
ऑलवेज आर जस्ट सिमरिंग 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 सिमरिंग.
Hmm.
हाँ.
Hmm.
अब इसमें क्या है, इसमें या तो इतना ज्यादा इंडल्ज हो गए कि गए
Hmm.
भाड़
Hmm.
में, और वो भाड़ के
Yeah.
बाद बस राइजिंग ही है, भाड़ के बाद और कुछ नहीं
Hmm.
है. है ना, और या
Hmm.
फिर यू आर एबल टू मास्टर कंट्रोल योर सेल्फ
Hmm.
एंड हैव अ
Hmm.
ट्रू रिलेशनशिप, ट्रू बॉन्ड विथ हुएवर
Yeah.
यू वांट.
Yeah.
है ना, तो
Yeah. Yeah.
अगेन विन विन सिचुएशन.
Yeah.
ये
तो
नहीं है कि
again,
अटके रहे,
हाँ,
बीच
जो
में.
सोसाइटी में अटके रहने के लिए जो कॉम्प्रोमाइजेस चाहिए,
हम्म.
उससे ये होता है तुम ना इधर के हो जाते हो ना
बिल्कुल.
उधर के, ना गिरते भी हो बट छुप छुप के
छुप
गिरते
छुप
हो।
के गिरते हो, दिखता नहीं.
हाँ
हाँ.
या
हाँ.
या
तो ऐसा गिरो कि बस अब
हम्म
या तो उठेंगे या फिर दूसरा जन्म.
हम्म
है ना,
हम्म
तो फिर तो बढ़िया है.
हम्म हम्म
क्योंकि वही जैसे मदर कहती है, डेस्टिनी तो एक ही है, डिवाइन. तो
हम्म
जाना जब एक ही पाता है तो फिर गिर जाओ, पूरा गिर जाओ पहले. इतना ही हो रहा है,
हम्म,
गिरने की इतनी इच्छा हो रही है
या
तो गिरो. हम तो बचाते रहते हैं अपने आप को गिरने से कि नहीं नहीं
हाँ
अभी नहीं. है ना, नहीं नहीं
हम्म
नहीं, हाँ फीलिंग तो हो रही है बट अभी नहीं, अभी नहीं. है ना, तो उसमें ना इधर की वही लकड़ी जल कोयला बनी, बेचारा वो कपलेट मुझे याद आ जाता है बार बार. वही हमारी हालत रहती है ना, मैं अभागन रियली, यूं ना यूं जली, ना कोयला बनी ना राख.
हम्म
तो ना स्पिरिट मिला ना मैटर,
हम्म
कुछ भी रिक्लेम नहीं कर पाए.
या
आया क्या आपके पास, स्क्रीन नहीं आया ना?
हाँ आया बट वह छोटा आया, पूरा आपका स्क्रीन दिखा।
एक सेकेंड.
परफेक्ट।
Yeah. So this, mutual comprehension cannot come if one is not living from truth consciousness. We will have continuing disharmony again and again. So true reconciliation proceeds always by a mutual comprehension leading to some sort of intimate oneness. So there is a deep level of understanding with each other. It is therefore through the utmost possible unification of spirit and matter that we shall best arrive at their reconciling truth, and so to some strongest foundation for a reconciling practice in the inner life of the individual and his outer existence. Yeah. So I think this whatever जो अभी पहले भी बात कर रहे थे, that if now I realign myself again and again, that what is my purpose of being human, you know, and I keep myself on that path, unification with truth consciousness, conscious unification with the divine within, you know, if that realignment happens again and again, then it becomes a reconciling practice, also for my relationships and individually for me, for uniting spirit and matter within me.
Yeah. And I think again this importance of transforming the cells, right? Like that mother talks about that each cell should be has to be transformed and
Hmm.
vibrating, say, with that energy,
Hmm.
right? Like
Very important,
so,
yes.
yeah,
But with purity, you know, more and more purification is happening, no?
yeah,
So, yes. And which reflects then, which in my interactions, it is reflected,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And even just like impurity is reflected, purity is reflected. And if impurity now is seen, then it is seen and worked upon. It is not defended.
mm, yeah. We have found already in the cosmic consciousness a meeting place where matter becomes real to spirit, spirit becomes real to matter. For in the cosmic consciousness, mind and life are intermediaries, and no longer as they seem in the ordinary egoistic mentality, agents of separation, fomenters of an artificial quarrel between the positive and negative principles of the same unknowable reality. Should I read a bit more?
नहीं ठीक है इतना पहले या नहीं हाँ पढ़ लो ये आगे भी अच्छा
So
है
it seems, yeah,
या
attaining to the cosmic consciousness, mind illumined by a knowledge that perceives at once the truth of unity and the truth of multiplicity and seizes on the formula of their interaction, finds its own discords at once explained and reconciled by the divine harmony. Satisfied, it consents to become the agent of that supreme union between God and life towards which we tend.
so he is here explaining that cosmic realization. I think हम उसमें सावित्री में भी we were talking about this cosmic realization Ashwapati is going through, you know, that I am all this. So there is oneness with the whole manifestation. You know, the whole cosmos is me. तो उसमें आई थिंक अच्छा है वैसे इसको पढ़ लो तो थोड़ा और इस पे अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ जाएगी। ये इसमें कॉस्मिक रियलाइजेशन के बारे में ही बता रहे हैं आगे।
Matter reveals itself to the realizing thought and to the subtilized senses as the figure and body of spirit. Spirit in itself, spirit in its self-formative extension. Spirit reveals itself through the same consenting agents as the soul, the truth, the essence of matter. Both admit and confess each other as divine, real, and essentially one. Mind and life are disclosed in that illumination as, as at once figures and instruments of the supreme conscious being by which it extends and houses itself in material form, and in that form unveils itself to its multiple centers of consciousness. Mind attains its self fulfillment when it becomes a pure mirror of the truth of being, which expresses itself in the symbols of the universe. Life, when it consciously lends its energies to the perfect self figuration of the divine in ever new forms and activities of the universal existence.
ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे नाउ मुझे लग रहा है दिस इज मच रिलेटिंग विद व्हाट वी वर रीडिंग इन सावित्री बिकॉज देयर द वर्ल्ड रिडल इज इन फ्रंट ऑफ अशुपति इट्स लाइक revealed, and this cosmic self was also, I remember the word cosmic self. तो उसमें ये है कि अब मेरे को यहाँ पे इट डजंट अपीयर नाउ नो मोर एज माया दैट ये हो क्या रहा है. It is everything takes its proper place. Why is it there? What is it doing? And what is the purpose? The whole thing is in front of Ashupati revealed. So again, um, we have found already in the cosmic consciousness a meeting place where matter becomes real to spirit. So both are validated. Yes, you are there. Yes, you are there. Spirit becomes real to matter. For in the cosmic consciousness, mind and life are intermediaries and no longer as they seem in the ordinary egoistic mentality. They are no longer in agents of separation. So ऐसा नहीं है कि वो दो opposing poles पे खड़े हुए हैं. I think this very much refers to those lines in Savitri. And earlier it as if दो poles, opposite poles of existence. And he
Mm,
says now he saw them coming,
mm,
acting as one. Yeah. Reality, attaining to the cosmic conscious, now he explains, attaining to the cosmic consciousness mind, illuminated by a knowledge that perceives at once the truth of unity and truth of multiplicity. So I am the Brahman, the non being, and I am the being also. So all that is one. There is no separation. Truth of unity and truth of multiplicity, and seizes on the formulae of their interaction. So now it works out the truth behind these hidden formulas which are working. जैसे हम symbols की भी बात कर रहे थे, if you remember in Savitri, that he got to know of true meaning behind the numbers, behind the symbols. Okay, that each number has a truth behind it. It stands for something. Each symbol stands for something. um, find its own discords at once explained. So suddenly everything, the meaning is revealed. Suddenly things become clear and reconciled by the divine harmony. That everything has a proper place. So truth consciousness or divine harmony. Satisfied, it consents to become the agent of that supreme union. Now, having this cosmic realization, I can bridge the pole of spirit and matter. तो यहाँ पे वो वाला हमारा जो बोधिसत्व वाले vows है वो भी I feel that they come into picture because you had once shared that if I am acting as a bridge from the flood to a place of sanity, then I must have a taste of both. Remember you had shared. So इसमें मतलब,
Mhm.
सो अब आपको उसका भी ज्ञान है जो उस तरफ है, और इसमें भी पैर है ना ये। उस दिन में हम जो कल की अवतार का शेयर कर रहे थे ना, उसमें भी ऐसे ही था कि हिज वन लेग इज taking the resistance of humanity which still wants to stay in the old, and the other leg is forging forward, कल की अवतार। तो ये वो हो गई। Satisfied, it consents now to become the agent. Now it knows that this is my purpose. From darkness to light is my purpose. Of that supreme union between God and life towards which we tend. Matter reveals itself to the realizing thought. तो अभी तक मैटर बिल्कुल ऑब्सक्योर था, अननोएबल। नाउ इट इज शोन इट्स ट्रूथ टू दैट illumined mind. See, this is what I am knowing to do. This is what I am here for. Matter reveals itself to the realizing thought and to the subtilized senses, the senses who have become even more refined in their character. They can sense much intangible things, not only grosser, क्योंकि यूजुअली हम ग्रॉस मटेरियल सेंसेस में रहते हैं ना, मोटी मोटी थिंग्स, okay, this is what I can feel, this is what I can touch. So now the senses are subtilized. When mother talks about refinement of senses, that we can actually sense, say, 3 rooms beyond my room, I can sense what's happening there. That sense of expansion of awareness to the subtilized senses as the figure and body of spirit. So it's not that matter is obscure and without consciousness, that's the body of spirit. Spirit in its self formative extension. So matter is nothing but a extension of the spirit. They are not opposing poles as they appear to be. आगे का आप करो।
नहीं नहीं आप करो, आई तो रेड इट वंस।
Spirit reveals itself through the same consenting agents as the soul, the truth, the essence of matter. So essence of matter is also revealing the spirit only. Now ये physics में हम देख सकते हैं, we are going deeper into the matter, and what are we reaching? We are reaching consciousness. We are not able to just say कि okay, matter is the last. We are saying we don't know what is the last. There is a haze around that. Both admit and confess each other as divine, real, and essentially one. Mind and life are disclosed in that illumination, as at once figures and instruments of supreme conscious being, by which it extends and houses itself in its material form, and in that form unveils itself to its multiple centers of consciousness. So पहले हो गई वेलिंग, पहले हो गई involution, that the spirit hid inside matter, involution. And now through evolution of consciousness is the unveiling. So अब thoughts also have to be become illumined, feelings also have to be turned divine, sense perceptions all have to become transparent. That's where we are marching forward. So पहले a long long phase of unconsciousness where the veiling is there, but now as we grow and ripen, now the unveiling happens slowly. Mind attains its fulfillment when it becomes a pure mirror of truth of being. Just a second. Which expresses itself in the symbols of the universe. यही वो again symbols वाली भी बात होगी, that each symbol in the universe is representation of some truth. Life, when it consciously lends its energies to the perfect self-figuration of the divine in ever new forms and activities of the universal existence. So this would refer, I believe, to creation of new life forms. As a mother talks about a race, new race to come. body change. So how from stone became plant, plant became insect, insect, further. So life and its energies, perfect self-figuration of the divine. So more and more the divine will be manifested in the life forms also. Manifested in the life forms also. Na? And not veiled anymore. That's what Mother shares, that in the new race, there is no veiling required. It's all out in open. It's in front that the shine is there. Perfect self figuration of the divine in ever new forms and activities of universal existence. तो ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे इस पैराग्राफ में इज लाइक कवर्ड how it moves through evolution, although it's at the moment just talking about cosmic consciousness and how that realization can help moving forward.
It feels that the one who had written Avatar, he probably would have read Shri Aurobindo. I mean, so it's like, and again, what we were talking about, transformation of cells, right?
Hmm.
There's no concealing required.
Hmm.
The all cells are lit by the light.
Hmm.
You whatever it is, it's shown. There's no need to concealing, and then you're operating from such a level that again one can understand. Like you were saying, कि चिट्ठी भी तो उसको लिखोगे जो समझ सकेगा, right? It's not that okay one can understand, like the overall level would be
Hmm.
there, that one can overall the oneness is there.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
और अगर बॉडी की कंसीलिंग नहीं है, बिकॉज हम अपीयरेंसेस में कितना कुछ छुपा लेते हैं, थॉट्स में इंटरनली कितना कुछ छुपा लेते हैं कि ऊपर से
Hmm.
लग रहा है कि हाँ, और अंदर से
Hmm.
सो मच ऑफ द ड्रामा
Hmm.
is already cleared, है ना? It's
Hmm.
gone now. It doesn't need. It's overcome.
Yes, yes, yes.
जो पहले भी what we were reading about, that revealing and everything somehow, although it's not directly connected, but how a lot of people talk about NDEs, right? Suddenly you're everywhere. Suddenly
Hmm.
suddenly there is light, right? Like that. It's revealed. It's revealed. It's
Revealed,
revealed.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's revealed like this.
hmm.
Like it's not a gradual ke, come, let's show you. It's just you're there, here and there and everywhere.
बिल्कुल. और अभी अपन नॉर्मल ह्यूमन ऑर्डिनरी कॉन्शियसनेस से देखें तो
हम्म,
किसी को ये फील नहीं होगा कि मुझे कम दिख रहा
हाँ
है.
हाँ
वी आर सो
हाँ
श्योर ऑफ अवर सेल्व्स. द ब्लाइंडिंग
हाँ
इज सो ग्रेट, है ना. अब
हाँ
ऐसी माया का क्या फायदा भैया जिसमें पता लग जाए माया है ना.
या
व्हाट्स द फन. तो माया भी ऐसी सो ब्लाइंडिंग
हम्म
कि पता ही नहीं कि क्या क्या वेल्ड है, जो आप कह रहे थे ना, व्हेन इट इज रिवील्ड इन एंड इट्स लाइक था.
हम्म, हाँ
आई डिडंट इवन नो दैट आई वाज ब्लाइंड. सो दैट्स द ट्रू ब्लाइंडनेस.
या
So we, I think again this helps not to be too sure of our ideas and concepts in the head, either about ourselves or the world or people. क्योंकि
या
हमें मतलब we don't know how blind we are. We have no
या
idea.
But this is such a beautiful twist in the view that just happened,
Mm,
that usually it's like, oh, it's so tough, it's too tough. Why did it had to be this way? And matlab, it doesn't make sense. And why is it so thick, the veil? Why is it so crude and black? But now it's like we're talking about the divine who made this also, right? Like, and it's his thing. तो माया भी राम की है और राम ने करी है, तो फिर बेस्ट क्वालिटी की होगी. तो द चैलेंज इज सो ग्रेट.
mm.
लाइक उसमें एक मजा भी दिखता
मजा
है
ही
ना.
exactly the adventure. Yeah.
लाइक यूजुअली इट फील्स लाइक दैट, ओ माय गॉड, इट्स अ वेट आई हैव टू कैरी, राइट? And now suddenly there's a twist that sees, I mean, the puzzle is so,
Yeah.
I don't know, intricate and so
Yeah.
well hidden.
Yeah.
Once you solve it,
Yes.
if,
Yes.
I mean, not solving is not the right word, but yeah,
Yeah. तभी तो हम कहते हैं ना, वी कैन जस्ट बी इन ऑ, कि क्या
हाँ,
बनाया, मतलब बनाने वाले ने।
yeah, yeah. What a visual वैसे, yeah.
And such a mystery that for a long time it doesn't even appear as a mystery. It appears like I know.
Yeah. This is life. This
हाँ,
is the way you
yeah,
live. These are the things you run
yeah,
after.
yeah. ऐसा लग रहा है वर्चुअल कुछ रियलिटी गेम में आ गए,
Yeah.
है ना?
On Facebook, like I'm on some, I don't know, some this city's Facebook group I was added to, and usme people post anonymously a lot, like so that you don't know. And it's just amazing. One conversation would be about, say, really crude, say, domestic violence kinds. Like the other would be that, I don't know, I'm even forgetting. I mean, it's just so, I don't know, frivolous. I just want to use this word, and said with the same pain and intensity. So it's just, it feels like, oh wow, matlab na कि this is also a possibility. This is also a possibility. Like, as in जो जिसके ऊपर बीत रही है, whoever is suffering, for him that is the best woe. Like the hardest struggle is this, that I cannot find a match to this foundation. I've tried 10 different places. The third one is saying, my daughter was sick yesterday night, and for the chemist shop I had to drive 10 kilometers. What kind of a city is this? With so much that we should tod dalenge kinds. So it's just, it's very grounding and amazing to see our worlds and how what is important, what is who, and mm,
आई वॉज रीडिंग समथिंग, श्योर बंदू का ही था, मदर का है, एक मिनट दिखाती हूँ. Found it very interesting. Mother is answering somebody. Question is not there with me. I just have the
mm,
response by the mother. Shares, I have postponed my answer to give you time to look carefully into the problem and to face it with more quiet and detachment. Then she shares, one thing only I can tell you, that whatever the sincerity, simplicity, and purity of the relation between two human beings, it shuts them off more or less from the direct divine force and help and limits their strength, light, and power only to the sum of their potentialities. Then she further says, I cannot say that this is very advisable in your case. So she's giving a perspective, but she's not very sure whether this is suitable to this case or not. But I found this very resonating, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि हम वो बात करते हैं ना कि मतलब हम एक दूसरे को सहारा बना लेते हैं अपना, और उसमें क्या होता है कि वो जो एक ट्रू सहारा है जो सबका होना चाहिए, वी as if we stand like a brick wall between that true banking upon, and in the name of wanting each other, in the name of not losing the person. And in that I also feel that अगर मैं वो किसी के लिए कर रही हूँ तो मैं भी सही पाथ पे नहीं हूँ, है ना, because if I myself bank truly on the divine, I would actually not be able to make the other person dependent upon me. ये हो ही नहीं सकता है, पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. द ओनली थिंग दैट आई वुड हिंट द पर्सन टूवर्ड्स इज डिवाइन, डिवाइन, है ना. तो ये आई वॉज फीलिंग दैट वॉट ऑल वी डू इन द नेम ऑफ हैविंग रिलेशनशिप्स, सिंस वी क्रेव फॉर दिस इंटीमेसी, है ना, तो कि वो एक रिलेशनशिप कहीं चली ना जाए, है ना. तो सहारा बना दो उसको, अपने आप को उसका सहारा बना लो, विच इज एक्चुअली अ वेरी क्रूड एक्ट ऑफ सेल्फिशनेस, दिखता नहीं है. And that's why I was sharing earlier with you that whenever we use this word, for example, I love you, मतलब, now I feel so wary of this word because everywhere I see my selfishness hidden. So yeah, just it came to me maybe since we were talking of relationships and all that, na, we truth consciousness and all that. और दूसरी, अगर मैं ठीक बात पे नहीं हूँ तो मुझे भी यही चाहिए कि दूसरा भी मेरे ऊपर डिपेंडेंट रहे, है ना, कि क्योंकि मैं उसको चाहता हूँ तो वो भी मुझे चाहे और हम एक दूसरे से चिपके रहें, और बिकॉज ऑफ दिस, ओइंग टू दिस, then we both are away from the true, what should be the path. Or it can be that we both travel towards one goal, knowing that there is one goal and there is no banking upon each other. That also is a possibility. But again, we have to let go of many, many insecurities on this path. We are so insecure. Well, that is what I would actually call as true love. Wanting the utmost benefit of the other and also myself. That would, अब देखो, representation of true love in Bollywood, Hollywood, and this would appear very different. And as if I'm feeling the suffering that what that person might be going through, when we bank upon people and have our ground ripped apart again and again. So I want the best ground for that person, the divine ground. Since I myself am walking on the path, तो again this वही mutual comprehension की बात हो रही थी ना, तो अगर मैं खुद नहीं walk कर रही हूँ then I cannot. Same for our children. मतलब instead of saying कि तू मुझ में सहारा ढूंढ, why not direct also the little children, as long as they begin to understand these things, to the one, directly to the one, since we are all children of the divine. You are also child of the divine, I am also child, so we are actually brothers and sisters. I also fumble, you also fumble, so who do we look up to? The divine, one mother.
कितना ईगोस का प्लेस भी कम हो जाए, है ना. My child has to listen to what I say. I have to make him, otherwise कुछ भी हो जाएगा. Good.
तो यहाँ पे मेरे ख्याल से